Welcome, everyone. We are so glad that you're with us today. My name is Naomi Harm, and I'm joining you from beautiful Cave Creek, Arizona, about 40 miles just north of Phoenix, Arizona in the USA. We can see that we've got several teacher friends on this afternoon that will be joining us. And whether it is your morning, whether it is your afternoon, or whether it is in the middle of the night or your evening, we are so thankful that you're here with us today to learn about dream and vision boards and how you can incorporate this into the STEM classroom. I'm going to be showcasing now, we're going to be sharing our screen with you so that you can see the full content. So it's just going to take just a moment, and here it comes. Okay. And I will maximize the screen playback so that you can see the entirety of the slide deck today. And once again, our focus will be on creating STEM growth mindset vision boards, a great visual literacy tool, plan, and a creative activity to get kids more empowered with their learning in the classroom and really helps them be part of them having ownership into creating their futures. We will be highlighting best tips and tricks today with how to create a growth mindset vision board, even if you don't have any technology. So if you want to do it as an unplugged activity, but we'll be highlighting the purposeful ways of using Microsoft Sway, Rocketbooks, Book Creator, and WeVideo. Once again, my name is Naomi Harm, and I am so thankful to be here with you today. Here is today's presentation and that slide deck link that you can reshare and reuse within your school districts. I don't have a problem at all with any of that. But today I'd like to learn with you, and I really would like to know, what do you know about vision boards? So if you could at this time, please share in our back channel chat area, what is a vision board, or what does it mean to you? So once again, you can go to that little black ribbon strip and there'll be like a little call out of a chat icon. When you click on that, that's where you can share what you can see of your chat that I've shared with you and what others are sharing as well. Okay. I'm going to turn over to my other little side computer and see what everybody's talking about. Okay. But take a moment, and if you could please share with me, what is a vision board? What is your interpretation, or what have you heard, or what have you gleaned information from other teachers that have perhaps shared with you what it's about? And I will just wait till you have just a few responses in. Okay. Yes. Yashi, thank you so much. Yeah, visual representations of your goals and a purpose. Right, there's usually a purpose. Oh, Julie, you and your daughter both have a vision board? Oh my goodness. Love to learn from you. You know, how is it working for you? How do you modify it? How do you update it? Love to learn all of that. So you each add items to your boards. You include positive thoughts, quotes, and ideas to speak of. Yes, it's perfect exactly to support social emotional learning. Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, it has such meaningfulness for education. It provides our students hope. It provides them a creative strategy. It also provides them many different ways to think about what they can pursue as a future career goal. Absolutely. And it's okay that they're not digital. I love that at times they're not, because the tangibility of the creating and making makes it so much more creative. Okay, we have another teacher friend, I believe it's Afsand, that you have joined us. So I'm going to add this to the back channel chat that if you've just come on board. So I'm going to add that there. Thank you so much for sharing your insight about what you have heard or what you've done personally for your own vision boards. This is great. Okay. Now, as we continue on, what I'd like to share with you is that we've got quite a few ideas and activities that we can use. So let's look at the bigger picture about what this vision board can provide for us as a teacher. And as we do this, let's see. Hope it didn't freeze on me. There it goes. It's just being a little bit of a delayed right now, but thanks for your patience. But there's no right or wrong reason of how and why you create your vision board. But the bigger piece of information that when we present on what a vision board is, it's really a creative design and a thinking process. And it does truly empower you as a teacher or even how you model this with students to visualize their life and learning goals. And also a pathway or a sequence to help them see how they can reach those goals, that they can find more success quickly instead of it being such a long-term goal. If they set it up for a year at a time, you can even set them up as a month at a time, so they can make quicker gains. But this vision and dream board also provides a wonderful learning pathway to help kids really concentrate, add clarity in their thinking, but it also helps them maintain this growth mindset. And especially for children, when we're working within the realm of STEM, we need to model that more so than ever about what STEM can provide for our students futuristically as a career life goal, as part of their current educational journey. But when we model that positivity, it helps kids feel empowered that they are part of the learning process and that they will choose a career pathway that really resonates with them about what they're personally interested in. Now, the why for vision boards, when we look at this bigger picture as well, is that it's really purposeful. It's a purpose of what we want out of life and then how we can create this as a reality. What I love about it, it's purposely driven in which that it helps kids identify goals related to school, related to home life, related to areas of interest, and even it can be their own relationships with in their own family or with their student friends. The other purpose that I really like is the why for vision boards is that it really brings about this feeling of empathy, understanding ourselves better, understanding the world around us. But this feeling of emotion really brings about a powerfulness to understand who we are and who we want to become. It's not just always focused on materialistic things. And that's what I love about it. Because a lot of times our students right now, especially when we talk about our Generation Z or our Generation Alpha students, they're very social. And they want to make sure that our children have an opportunity to create and make that is bettering our world and providing much opportunity for a social cause in our world right now. Some other things that I'd like to share with you. This is one way that I've worked with teachers before to get the look and feeling of, besides designing a really big vision board, we started out small with students so they could find success right away and great gains. This is called the Soul Collage card. So thinking of it as just one card. Now, Sue Gelbers is the example that I've added here. And she focused on family with a purpose. And this particular one where these students were with, they had multi-generational families living in one home. And it told a very unique story and how this whole family was so woven together. And that's what I loved about it. But the soul cards allow children to create a card that reflects their current point and stands in their life. They share ideas that are very creative and purposeful to them. And it's the tangible pieces that you don't even have to use technology. You can use photos that you've already had taken or pictures that maybe you have drawn to create this soul collage. But what's so nice about it is that you can create many different cards to create a whole deck, which really is a sequencing to the digital story that you can create. It answers life's questions. It really does. And it lets the kids really participate in the self discovery of who they are and who they want to be. But then who has influenced them in their lives? Who has mentored them? Or who's been a soul support to impact them of where they're at? So, other areas that I'd also like to share is that when children create and make, and they feel like their value add and their voice is being heard, they really do feel that there is creative ownership in this learning. They see the purpose of why they are going to school, the why for their placement in the home environment, and how they connect with friends and family. If you'd like to learn more about this in general, I've got the link added in here that you can get to more examples of what Sue has created and the different examples that she's used with family members and also students. Okay, here's another one too, the why for vision boards that when I actually work with students and teachers in the classroom, but we really want to empower students to show what they know and really put everything out there about what inspires and motivates them. Because the more that we can figure out what inspires and motivates our students, the better that we can build stronger relationships with our children and to help differentiate with them in the classroom to help them focus on being their best selves every single day. I also like it because there's no true rules of creating a vision board. It's your empowerment of what you visually see of your reality to come to life. So you may be asking, well, Naomi, this sounds like more fluff. Do vision boards really work? Well, yes, they do. They truly do. You can visualize the power of seeing your future, meaning that even a picture or an affirmation of a word that you see daily and you focus on that can help you attain that goal better because you're visually connecting that type of pathway or those sequence of steps. It's very powerful, and it's a very powerful growth mindset that when you work with your mind in that way, and it's a mind exercise that you can do. I have a link here for Psychology Today on the research about this. We have a lot of professional athletes. They have their own vision boards, and they see themselves through pictures that they have drawn or photographs that they've taken and that they have cut out and put onto these vision boards. And then they see themselves futuristically of what gains can they make in 1 month, in 3 months, or a year from now. And it's almost like it's visually coaching yourself to be mentally prepared for that next big event that you will participate in. Some other brain studies also show that now how you reveal those thoughts produce the same mental instructions as actions. So the more times that children see themselves in the positivity light that they are part of the learning process, they're part of making choices for their career paths and how they can attain those goals, those basically become mental instructions which become and formulate actions in their lives. So we need more positive results from our children. And again, this is coming from the Psychology Today research. Some other things I wanted to share with you. This is a vision board that I've actually created for myself, and I change this up all the time. You can create these through Google Slide Decks, through PowerPoint slide decks, through like the online Canva online graphic design program, through Adobe Spark, you name it. There's all kinds of programs that you can use. But this particular one for me is what I've actually physically designed through my graphic artist background. What I like about that is I like to create memes, or it's a picture that I can add an element of a visual literacy aspect with an affirmation of a word choice. So like the top one on the right is, it says change for women. That picture of that little girl really resonates with me because I felt from younger on that I had this calling to work with others, to empower other girls, which has now led to empowering other women to be the best that they can be. I do a lot of girl coaching and women leadership coaching, and especially when it comes to STEM. So that picture for me tells a lifetime story from my childhood on into where I'm at today. My other pictures that I have here, I do a lot of quotes and I create quotes and I use the program called Canva, Canva, and I can use that I can use basically visuals that can tell a story, and then I put a quote that can resonate with making an individual feel good. And one of my quotes that I've created says, "Your smile is your logo, your personality is your V card, and how you leave others feeling after an experience with you will become your brand." And I truly believe in that. And if I do not do my job with inspiring you today, then I need to go back and I need to change up my presentations. I need to do better research, or I need to use different word choices in my presentations. The other things in my bottom, you can see in the bottom left corner there, is kind of like my work in my remote environment right now. I'm in a separate office space from my house, is where I'm teaching and I'm learning. And I have to have a lot of my tech into play to have this work. But I have a lot of visuals around me to help me stay inspired, because sometimes I'm delivering 4, 5, 6 webinars a day, and it can become quite draining. So I need to feel empowered and to keep myself going. My other quote I use a lot is, "Together we are better." And I truly believe that there's no way that we can know it all, but if we can share, we can contribute, we can ask more questions, we can together contribute more and be better together to help ourselves during this pandemic in general, but also our teaching careers. So here's a question to ask you at this time. How do you introduce vision boards of the creative and design thinking process to your students or fellow teachers? How do you think you could do this? What could be some examples? Well, some of the examples that I want to share with you, I'm going to click on this link here. And then from there, what I'm going to do for you, I'm going to give you this link. I'm going to add it to our back channel chat. So I'm going to bring this up and then you can access it. Make sure. I think it went behind. Here we are. I'm going to put it in here. Now I'd like you to access the link that I just put into the back channel chat. And when you access that link, that will now bring us up to this page right here that I'm showing. Within this page this is a PowerPoint slide deck, and this is a way that I involve my students and teachers I work with understanding them better before we even begin the design process of a visioning board, because I need to understand who they are. So I use I call it a 4-quadrant approach. So I take a slide, I quad it, meaning putting 4 separate sections, and I have 4 separate pieces of information to have students reflect. So the first one is like, please introduce your unique individual self. Then another one I have is, share one personal goal or idea you would like to improve to make you be more present with your family. Then I have another one that says, share your creative influence and educational impact. And then the bottom one is, share one professional goal or idea you would like to improve to enhance your teaching or instructional approaches. So that is what I've created. And then from there, I normally give the time for teachers or students to reflect. Now, as you continue on, now you'll see that you have a blank template that you can fill out. With that, if you would like at this time, choose a slide that you'd like to work on, and it gives you editing, and it may have to say edit in a browser. You may have to click on edit in a browser, and then that will bring it up, that if it should open up to take you to edit in that browser. And now you'll see that you can choose a slide that no one else is on. And I can go to a next one. I can see someone's filling something out there. I can go to another one that's still a template again. And by filling that out, that will allow for you to be more reflective of what you're creating and making in your classroom. I've got many blank slides, as you can see. You can take one of these too and create your own template, whatever you'd like to do. But I purposely share this with teachers because I need to know them in a more personalized way about how they are as a professional. And this is a great way also to start sharing information with your own students and helping them feel safe, building a stronger community of learners amongst your own students, feeling that they can better get to know their own students in their classroom too. So that's one way that I use with my students quite frequently. So again, I've shared that link with you. You're more than willing that you can make a copy of it, take whatever you'd like, but that's an activity that I usually utilize to springboard before we even begin the design process because I want to get them in the thinking and problem solving mindset. Now, as we continue on, what I'd like to share with you, these are some different options of how you can introduce vision boards and then to also influence the STEM focus. You can use vision boards for any content or any subject area. I really like it as a STEM focus because it really gets kids thinking differently of how they can contribute to their world of good. Because a lot of our kids at times are taught subjects. Science is separate, technology is separate, engineering is separate, and mathematics is separate. And what we need to understand is that all of those beautiful subjects really belong together as a multidisciplinary approach to show kids and model to children how that is when it's infused together, it's a more meaningfulness in their lives. Now, some of the ways that I've introduced vision boards to our children and students and teachers is that we identify a time throughout the day that it's a time that we have our most creativity. So this could be possibly to jumpstart your morning, whether it's a morning meeting time, whether it's an advisory time with our middle school or our high school students. During that time, it is a great time. And again, I love it because when the kids come together, it really is focusing on the unique individual gift that each of them has to bring to the classroom. And it builds a stronger community of collaboration amongst your learners in your classroom. I have some teachers that use vision boards all year long. And that's their tool that they use to engage kids to build a stronger community, but also focuses on the STEM growth mindset. And then they infuse that with social, emotional learning activities. Now, some other areas, I've got school districts across the nation that introduce it as Monday morning impacts. And every Monday, that's a dedicated time that they use to design, to develop, to create, and focus on their goals. The other thing too that we have teachers that use it during, it's called a 20% projects or genius hour time. And they set aside a whole quarter or a whole semester at a given time. So that could be another thought. These also would be a great way for student clubs before or during lunchtime breaks or after school. So another way to introduce this. I try to have some type of formalized checklist so that students have flexible structure to help them stay on task. And that helps me as well know where they're at in the design thinking process of identifying their goals, making sure that they have the right magazines and maker materials around them so they have access to materials and the equitable access to resources. We also make sure to find inspirational photos and quotes. Photos can be included of them. They can include their own drawings of things that they've done, or quotes, or maybe a poem that they've actually written. But then also making sure that they have collage making tools. A lot of tangibility. I love starting out with tangible with no tech at the beginning and then integrating the digital aspect after the fact because the kids really can make the connections right away. That when they can create something tangibly, they'll say, hey, I can replicate this in this type of online program. And that's when the learning dots really connect in their big, beautiful brains. And then the ideas really come to light. Again, I'll keep mentioning affirmation of words, helping kids build their choice vocabulary and words that can express who they are, and more beautiful adverbs and adjectives to describe more passionately about what they want to achieve and also where they're at in their learning stage. I also try to include that when we work on our vision boards, that we always have, whether you started off as an opening activity or a closing activity, but having your students reflect on their growth mindset of where they're at, of what they achieved, of what they created with that board today, or to jumpstart or springboard the learning of helping them focus on, okay, I've got the next 30 minutes or 42 minutes. My goal to achieve in the next so many minutes is this, and then they reflect on that. My 6-step design process, this has really helped me. Again, this kind of reiterates what we already said, but helping kids create a goal. Even if it's one goal, it doesn't have to be a lot of goals because starting smaller is better here. One or two goals that they want to achieve in this next school year. Now, sometimes looking at it a whole school year, it's like, wow, that's pretty big. Maybe we should back up a little bit. Maybe we should focus on maybe the first month of school or the first quarter. Or if you're working with students at upper middle school or high school, maybe it's the first semester. But starting smaller is better actually. Again, have those tangibility of those resources, making sure that there's access and equity for our students. Have a call out to parents, grandparents, community members to donate some of these items also. Some other things, again, having kids choose pictures that really reflect the emotional tone of themselves or how they're feeling, and to tie that into their goal is important. Making just really creative collages, like I showcased earlier on that collage card. It's amazing how you can use multiple pictures or multiple designs to create one beautiful picture, and how that becomes just a mural of a growth mindset vision board. Again, the affirmational words are important. Words are powerful. Words mean a lot, and words matter to set the tone. And again, please have your students reflect and reflect often, because it's interesting looking at that learning process. Because if they go back and to look and look at the reflections from 30 days ago, they will really see their aha moments of how they've actually grown. Some other things when starting out with brainstorming, especially for your students of those goals, sometimes kids get stuck because they're like, I don't know which goal I want to do, and I don't know where to start. So I usually start that if we keep it very simple, we usually focus on one personal goal for them individually, and then one academic learning goal. And that's usually a great starting point. Again, start small. Maybe it's just the first month, or maybe it's the first quarter. For your older kids, starting small in that time frame is still okay, or you can lengthen it to a semester. But help kids with guided questions. These guided questions are really important because it will help them think about goals, because otherwise they may get stuck without a flexible framework. So I've included a link here that ASCD has put together. It's called Developing Strong Goal Setters and Goal Getters. I love the article. I think it's going to help you with formulating creative ways of how to set goals in your own classroom for yourself as a teacher and or your students. I also want to give a big shout out to Casey Bell. Casey Bell is just a great teacher friend, and I've actually had a privilege and honor of working with her when I was in South Dakota about 2 years ago at an event. But Casey's done a nice job, and I've asked permission to share her question sets that she has. And these question sets are guided questions about thinking about bigger picture thinking when kids get stuck with defining a goal. So, like, what have you always wanted to learn? What books do you want to read? What's something you would like to learn in this class particularly? Or what's something that you struggle with that you want to overcome? These very simplified goals will get kids thinking because they're more personalized to meet that child's needs. So once again, Casey Bell, I want to give her a shout out for some of those questions. Some other things I already mentioned. Start the tangibility without any technology. Collect magazines. There's so many magazines that are out there that still are parents or grandparents, or you could get them at a thrift shop or different areas that have been recycled. You could even use recycled magazines from different doctors' offices and things like that. Sometimes they put them in a collection bin or they recycle them, and you can ask for them, and you can actually have them set for that 72 to 96 hours to making sure that they're safe, that they're not carrying anything on them, and then distributing out to making sure that each child has a magazine of some sort. But it's a great way to help kids see the different types of tone and different types of feelings and impressions that comes from the different magazines. That's why you can even look at like the home and garden magazines. You can look at cooking magazines. There's lots of DIY magazines out there. And it's interesting, all the different pictures that represent food, individuality of persons, the working environment. So lots of different pictures. Here's some other things that you may want to think about too is really helping your students and saying that it's okay to get a collection of pictures, but see yourself in that picture of that tone or that feeling or that color. Maybe it's the color that brings about that tone. Really look at the different types of quality of the angle of the picture, or the way the picture was taken. Was it taken like really from a topographical view versus an angled view? But you want to design something that is extremely original and really showcases your own creativity. Some things that you may want to think about if you haven't used Bing as your search engine for looking at different types of pictures, I really like it because to find pictures and images, you can go to the Microsoft Edge browser, but then using Bing as your search engine provides you many different possibilities. So if I put in a search that I'm looking for something for food of a certain type of food, maybe it is a strawberry or an apple, because I personally love to cook and I made this fabulous fruit salad over the weekend. And those rich, vibrant colors of reds of strawberries, if you have grapes that are green, let's say, I also included some blueberries, some papa blueberries in there too. And then if I put that term into the Bing search engine, it's going to give me other call outs of, do you want it in a pie? Do you want it in cookies, or do you want it in bars or things like that? So it's kind of fun by looking at all of those. It really is very visual. And that's what I like Bing as a search engine when I use the Microsoft Edge browser, because it gives me all these different choices and the visualization really just pulls me in. Now, if you're looking for other means of finding photos, I'd highly recommend it's called Photos for Class or Pixabay or Pexels or Unsplash. Any one of those are great copyright friendly tools to use with your students that are ethical to use, age appropriate to use, and they will not be getting into something that they shouldn't be getting into. But again, it's a great way to look at different perspectives of photos, but helping our students model appropriate digital citizenship skills. Some other things, making your collage, you may want to start out, because I believe, Julie, you had said at the beginning too, that you make yours with tangible resources instead of digital, which is absolutely fine. This particular one here is an example that you can create a vision board that you can actually take a piece of like a tag piece of paper or a tag board, and you may want to break it out into key sections. Now, this one is an example from a high school vision board, and they had key areas that they wanted to work on. So you can see that they had family, skills and knowledge, they had some, I think, some guidance that was added, and some health, and some other focus areas of career and life connections. Now, that's 9 sections on a tag board. That may be too many for our elementary or even our middle school. So start out small, even with our younger kiddos. Maybe they want to start with the 1 or 2 items. Going up to middle school, maybe they want 3, 4, or 5. It's your purpose and your focus. But adding the words, the text, the shapes, the lines, even arrows, even emojis or videos, and even that you can create your own GIFs to be included if you want to digitize it. So I added just a screenshot of the Bitmoji. The Bitmoji is all the rage right now, right? And you can help your own students that even if they are not old enough to sign up for a Bitmoji account, parents can assist their sons or daughters with that. Or if your students are old enough to sign up for an account, they can create their own. But I love it because the Bitmoji does a cartoon character flair of yourself actually, and personalizes it as well. The middle picture, as you can see, we have a lot of teachers and students that will add their favorite book or their favorite book jacket to it. And then they add different types of flares of what they want. They want to focus on a career, which is also financial literacy in this one. They want to make sure that they have a health, fitness balance as well. And then they have those words of affirmation. Some other things, motivational words will set the tone. We'll also identify that the words matter to that child and also to you as a teacher, but also can really add a flair of creativity. And it really brings about that emotional tone. And you can really gather through the colors, the words, what that child or what that teacher is feeling. Ongoing reflection is what I've mentioned earlier, and I really feel it's very purposeful. It helps connect the learning dots with students, but also it helps them be more reflectful in where that they looked at where they were even 30 days ago to where they're going, and they can see the learning gains. We want to make sure our students that we're finding those gains more readily and that they can find success more readily. Otherwise, kids give up too quickly sometimes. So again, starting small, having them reflect daily, then even having them go back to even 7 days prior or 14 days prior, they can see the learning that's happened. Now, I've added in here a link that's called the Magical Learning Moments PowerPoint, and I've made that into an interactive journal. I've done that especially during the course of our pandemic, and I want to make sure that you have something that the students can start with too. You can take any one of these and you can change it or modify it to your liking. But I have a slide that is the morning. Basically, in the morning, I'm grateful for, and then they have a target of my learning focus today will target on something because, and then always something to read. And then they can add their pieces of evidence throughout the day. So you can use this to support your STEM vision board, or you can use it for another means. But it's a great way to help kids be more flexible in their thinking, but document their learning to connect those learning dots. Now, the other thing, I have 3 of the tools that I wanted to share with you, or 4 actually of the tools. So your Microsoft Sway, if you haven't tapped into Sway, it's easy enough just to go to sway.office.com. Or if you have a tablet, you can use the actual app for it as well. But the beauty of Sway, it's so simplified that you don't have to know any of the coding. It's all simply drag and drop. And I'm going to, at this time, showcase through some screenshots to share with you today of what it looks like, but you're more than welcome to tap into it to go ahead into it right away. But when you go to sway.office.com, what I like about the interface, it comes up right away because I am currently logged in. You will be prompted to log in, that if you don't have an account yet, to do that. But my interface is so simplified. You can see it says, welcome to Sway. And what I have right away, it says I can create a new Sway, I can start from a topic, or I can even start from my own document that I have. What I love when you start from a topic, like I even have an example down below, it says computer science. If I put in the topic of computer science, it instantly creates a very flexible outline for me. And it will automatically link in keywords to help you create that particular sway. Then from there, it can help me with my goal setting framework. So if I really want to add computer science, that I want to improve my skill in learning how to learn and work with Python coding, I can add that in. And then it's going to give me suggestions, and it infuses Bing right away into Sway that I can search for things about Python. And then I can add different pictures to add to the emotional tone of when I'm designing and creating. I've also included some Sway tutorials of step-by-step, but it's very, very simple to get started. You basically create new, you click, you drag, you drop, you actually add text, and away you go. It's that simple. The other thing I wanted to share with you, that if you haven't used Sway yet, you could also start from a template. You don't have to start from scratch. So what that means is that there's beautifully designed templates that have placeholders for pictures, placeholder for words and affirmations of words, and placeholders of how to link in content of a video, of a picture, of a hyperlink, and then you just change those out. So they're beautifully done, that are very professionally looking. They can look as a playback, as a DIY project. I use a lot of those with our students. A newsletter format, or a portfolio. Portfolio is a great way too as a vision board, and especially for a STEM vision board, so that students can create that, and it can be a vertically displayed or horizontal display as well. Now, other tools that you may want to include in your vision board, if you haven't seen this yet, this is by far one of my favorite tools. This is called a Rocket Book. And a Rocket Book is, as you can see, it is a notebook, but it's a notebook that includes an embedded QR code in the corner. So whatever I design and create on my Rocketbook, I can hover over with my phone with the Rocketbook app. And when I hover over that QR code, I can instantly share it with my online digital folder. So I have it set up to my Microsoft OneDrive account. I can instantly scan that QR code and it can save right into my OneDrive. If I want to scan it, I can save it to a family drive that's online, and everybody will get a copy of what I've just created. Now, the Everlast folder is the GIF, which I call it right here. The GIF is the animated graphical display feedback of these pictures that's on the right side. You can also have a Rocketbook that you can draw and design with erasable markers and crayons. And what you can do that when you're done with it, you basically just you can take a wet cloth and wipe it off, or you can use a microfiber and wipe it off. What the beauty is that you can reuse it and reuse it and reuse it and reuse it again and again. That's the beauty of this. And as long as you've scanned the QR code and saved it to your online social share of your folder or your drive or wherever you want it to save, you'll have a copy of it. And using that copy, I have students use their digital artwork or their words of affirmation or their drawings, and then they include those into their STEM vision boards. The other one that I have too at the top left there, those are a Rocketbook color book. And those coloring books, which is nice, I even use those for like my grandchildren, meaning my grandchildren live in Wisconsin. I live here in Arizona. My little Maddie Ann, who's 6 years old, she can draw a picture to me every single day, and she can scan that picture by the QR code, and it's instantly shared into my Drive folder because we have it set up that it can be linked to my Drive folder. At the bottom of the page, you'll see that there's an X at the very bottom. There are like 7 different symbols that you can choose because there's 7 different areas that you can socially share your final drawing or your picture or your words of affirmation. So she can share one with me and it goes to my folder. She can share it with someone else that's set up to her other grandparents' folder. So I get to stay connected with her. But what I like about that is what the kids draw and create and make is shared to that OneDrive folder. Then they can take that and add that immediately into their design of their vision board. If they've created it through PowerPoint, if they've created it through Canva, if they've created it through a different means. Here's another one. So if you've got younger kids, we're talking preschool age, this is one that was just done in April as a teacher friend had shared with me. What I like about this is Rocketbooks, there is a cost for them. They range anywhere from $8 up to like $20. But you can still go to getrocketbook.com and you can still download free pages. And the free pages you can take and modify. So this one in particular, as you'll see this is a garden free template that the teacher shared. And what you have is that a student can use this and they can write, they can draw, they can add their pictures in of what they're thinking of. And then at the very bottom, again, you're going to see that you have those 7 symbols. When they put an X through one of the symbols and then they scan the QR code, that gets shared to the classroom collaborative folder or to that student's folder. And now he or she can use that to put into their portfolio with Sway, or they can add it in a different means to print it out if they want to and put it onto their tangible board. So lots of different creative ways of how you can create a vision board. Some other things, if you haven't seen, I really truly enjoy Book Creator. Book Creator is one of those online tools that's, you can say it's device agnostic. It can be used with the Google Suite. It can be used with the Microsoft Suite. It can be used with iPads. It can be used with Microsoft tablets, anything. It's great. I can even access it right through going to my Microsoft Edge browser and putting in and going to bookcreator.com and logging in and getting into my items there. But what I love about this is that Book Creator empowers us that you can create a vision board as a digital story. because not only as my vision board, I can add my own documents, my drawings, my photos, my videos. I can record my voice to tell my story about my vision board. I can add musical soundtracks as well. You can set up a book creator book, and you could allow each student to have their own page. That's the beauty of it too. You could create a collaborative vision board of your entire class. So what a better way to learn about each and every student's passion, their drive, what they're interested in, and a goal that they're focusing on. Some other things with Book Creator, I have some teaching examples that I've embedded because it's a pre-K through high school product, and I've even used it with pre-service teachers that are earning their teaching degrees. So it really encompasses every single subject area. It's a beautiful focus for STEM in education. Yet there's also a lot to do with students that English is not their first language, or if you're a foreign language teacher, teaching another language. What a great way to develop a vision board about expressing and becoming more fluent in a new language. I also have some student book creator examples for you to review as well too that I've embedded into this slide deck today. The other thing that I have here is I have a link that I've shared. I create a lot of items within Book Creator that I use as tutorials for teachers and students. I use it as a newsletter creator. I also use it as, at the beginning of the pandemic, I built and I wrote a book that's called Innovative Blended Learning Ideas ebook. And these are the best examples of what we can do to get kids more engaged, especially during this time of remote learning, but just different creative ideas to allow children to show what they know. So again, a way that this is a great way that Book Creator can be used even beyond how to create a vision board, but how to get kids more engaged in more authentic and meaningful tasks to help them see their vision and focus on a career-driven pathway that they may not have thought of otherwise. This is another, I wanted to give you just kind of a screenshot of what this looks like for a book creator. This is one of my pages in my newsletter. So I have like a table of contents, and then I have an overview. I can add a little call out of a voice icon, which means that when you click on it, you're going to hear me speak and talk to you and things like that. But the call out, which is really nice, is that it has a media call out that you can import your own photos. You can take a picture with your camera. You can do digital drawings. You can add text and you can record. You can add a comic playback, and there's all kinds of shapes and designs to make it very, very unique. The other thing too, here's another screenshot from another page of one of the newsletters. I gave an overview about computational thinking activities and what can you do to help kids understand what computational thinking is and how to better meet the needs of today's Generation Z and Alpha students. Now, the call outs on the right side, what you'll see is that it looks and feels very simplistic, like a word processing design system, because you'll see that you can justify the margins and the words. You've got your bold, italicized, and underline. You can choose fonts, colors, add backgrounds, shadows, you name it, add all of that into it. So you can really beautify it up. And that's when kids, when they create their vision boards in a tangible fashion, that's brilliant. Then what's really interesting is when students say, hey, I could redo that, but create it as a digital version. So then they see that what they can do even in Book Creator. So this is another way of helping kids set goals, identify a strategic path of how they will achieve those goals as a step-by-step process. And then they can use this for a reflection journal at the same time too. So again, I just wanted to share with you, Book Creator is another one of those tools that can help you with identifying with those vision boards. You can publish these online to keep them private or make them public and just get the URL to share with parents or grandparents or other individuals. You can share the ebook as well as an EPUB file. And when you share that EPUB file, if someone else has the Book Creator, then they can link that together and then they continue to build that book if you want them to, or use it as a template format. You can also print your book, meaning that you can choose to export that PDF and you can print it. And then you can actually put it through an actual publication, meaning that if you want to publish it as a hardbound copybook too. So that is another version if you'd like to do that. So if you're looking for more ideas about Book Creator and how you can use it in everything you do, even beyond vision boards, please tap into this particular links on Twitter as well. And you can follow the different hashtags of Book Creator or at Book Creator app. And you're going to see all kinds of design ideas of what and how teachers and students are using this in their classroom. Now, other things I wanted to mention as well, I mentioned WeVideo. There's lots of different video programs that are out there. But what I love about creating with WeVideo is that you can create just in time, just small video clips that now you can take to build back into Book Creator, or I could build back into Canva, or I can build back into my PowerPoint, whichever choice or tool that you want to do. But it's a very streamlined process. So this is a quick snapshot. I created a video from small sections that I have in my granddaughter, and she was experiencing and learning about the 3D Doodler Start Pen, and she was creating some 3D printing with this pen. So we created this into as a part of her Makerspace YouTube channel. So I was helping her with this of creating these small video clips. So because of that, this is a great way to get kids into designing and producing their vision board as a video conversation piece as well too. So this really heightens it and takes it to the next level, almost like using it as a personal service announcement, you could say. Here's another overview. So if you're working with high school students can create vision boards that can be very visual, but creating it through a video playback. So this particular one is all about creating and making with food, culinary, science, and making kind of like that best salsa. And what I like about it is these tips and tricks within WeVideo. Not only can you have a video in the background or a picture in the background, then you can put in the foreground a brief video clip. So it really enhances it so you can see the student who's creating, but then at the same time, the up close video clip that can help tell that story. And then they're modeling that if they didn't even know how to create salsa before, but then they went through the step-by-step process, this is their documentation of their video, of their vision board of how they went through a process, what they learned, what they struggled with, and what they made at the very end that they felt successful with. So video can tell a lot. It's a beautiful snapshot into the learning and actually can be a great reflection tool as well too. Okay, that was a lot, right? In this last hour, a lot of different tools that you can blend in to make the best vision board ever. But my question now back to you is, where will vision boards best fit into your classroom practice this next school year to promote and model a growth mindset for student learning? So I'm going to pull back this a little bit and see what you can share with me. So if you could, in the back channel chat, where will vision boards best fit into your classroom practice this next school year to promote and model a growth mindset for student learning? Okay, and I'm just going to pull up the back channel chat that I can see kind of where you're at. Okay. And I know it'll take just a little bit for some of you to come through. That's okay. But I'm very interested to see, where would you start with, even if it's a very small project, where would you start? Okay. So I have Afonso with me yet. We have Yashi is with me yet. I have Julie is with me yet, I believe. And E. Darlin is with me. Okay. I have to see what you would like to and how you'd like to use that in your classroom. As you're continuing to reflect, I'm just going to put up my next slide. If you have any questions or you'd like to connect more to talk about brainstorming of how you could use vision boards in your classroom or or added insight, please feel free to contact me anytime. And once again, today's presentation is also included there, those of you that joined us after the fact. And thanks to all of you that had reshared that link. But please feel free to reach out and we can continue the learning. Yeah, I know, Julie. I shared so many things, right? But even starting small is the best way to go. Remember how we started out at the beginning, just the soul card vision boards, even as that card set? Sometimes that makes it really simple for kids and streamline. You could even start as, think about it as a postcard or an index card. Start even that small and then expand larger about the possibilities of what they could be. Absolutely. Okay. Please feel free, if you'd like at this time, turn on your mics if you've got questions. We could brainstorm and solve some ideas together. Not a problem. Oh, great question. Julie says, have you ever used vision boards in student collaborations? Yes, because sometimes even having some students start with setting a goal, sometimes that just is so big to kids. And having two children, like working as dynamic duos or up to three children, transformative trios, that their vision could be, even if it's not, let's say, about them, let's just say that you're introducing a new STEM topic in your classroom. And maybe there's two or three subtopics that go along with that main topic. Having students work in groups and having them identify what they're interested in about a particular STEM topic, and then having them collaborate on creating a vision board of what they want to learn about that STEM topic. Absolutely. I think that would be brilliant. Oh, and Julie, oh, excellent. And you facilitate a co-maker challenge with educators. You're both thinking of ways you can introduce the vision boards into our project. Yes, this could be a great way to get the students to know more about their teammates and grow a team vision for the project. Oh, yes, yes. Oh, I'm Yashi, and I'm glad you're going to use it for vision boards for teacher training. Yes, I think sometimes even teachers, we've got so much coming at us, and vision boards help us focus on one or two or at the most three ideas so we don't feel so overwhelmed. It really puts us more in control of our learning. It personalizes it for us. We feel more invested. Absolutely. Absolutely. Co-maker challenges, I like that as well of what you have just said, Julie. What a great way to help students and teachers really learn through a different type of mindset, basically. But also, it's that hands-on learning to build that lifelong learning confidence. And that's what we need, the opportunity to design, to create, to make, but then to reflect on that learning. Absolutely. And that final vision board, what a beautiful piece of authentic evidence that really has a digital product or a physical materialistic product that kids will have, and I guarantee that they will remember that activity for a lifetime, and so will your teachers. Absolutely. I've had teachers introduce vision boards to some other classes when it comes to be a time that maybe a topic isn't as of an interest to some of their students. It's like things that we have to teach, but it may not be as interesting. So trying to take an ordinary activity and make it extraordinary, and that really adds new life and new purpose into a topic that even maybe the teacher isn't normally as engaged in. Absolutely. Okay. Well, thank you so much, teacher friends, for joining today. Feel free to tap back into these resources at any given time. As I mentioned before, I'll put that link in there one more time in case if you joined us after the fact. I think some of you have already shared it, but just in case anyone came after the fact, I'll put it in there. And also, this recording should be up and live within 48 to 72 hours. You can find all the recordings from all the presenters if you go back to q.org/Microsoft and then scroll to the bottom link that it will give you that'll say view recordings, and you can get to all of that. Okay, thank you so much, Julie. I learned so much from all of you today of how you're using them already. You can only make it like 10 times better. So I'm hoping that one more idea, one more strategy was useful for your teaching and learning today. Okay, thanks everyone. Have a great day. Put the technology down and enjoy your family this evening. Okay.